I am being canceled. Again, this time by Social Repose.
Why are we still here?
Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself?
That's why the sleeves have come off. As you can see, no sleeves means business. So Social Repose, months after I did a scathing hour-long investigative piece on him, decided to respond. Mainly he was responding to Inabber's, really? Inabber's video wasn't even that bad. It was like, man, ain't he cringy? And also he cheated. And that was it. That was all it was. You'd think he'd be able to handle that, but apparently that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I always love it. The guys like Social Repose and Onision, they only respond to me in weird subtweets, and they never whisper my name. It's always just hushed tones. They never say it specifically or say what I did wrong specifically. Because if they do, I'm gonna spend the next month of their life making them look like an idiot. Richard is trying to put an end to all commentary channels, but Richard, we can't stop all the commentary channels, because how else am I gonna watch cringe compilations of furries if there isn't a saucy British boy to tell me how cringe it is? Now, before I get into the video, I should update you guys what happened post Social Repose hour-long expose. Now, a lot of people criticize me for comparing him to Onision, and okay, understandable, one of them is a pedophile. My legal department informs me that I have to say allegedly or go above and beyond to prove that no reasonable person would believe what I'm saying. So yeah, I actually saw Onision get a Nazi tattoo and he butt-fucked Adolf Hitler. Now, Social Repose didn't have coitus with Adolf Hitler, but he sure has had coitus with a lot of women. But I really do genuinely believe, and it's just my opinion at the end of the day, but I genuinely believe that Social Repose and Onision, right, that they operate on a same kind of mental tick. I think their brains work in a similar way. Now for Greg, his kind of like special identity that he prescribes to himself, but gotta be honest with you, I don't believe it. But what Greg prescribes to himself is that he's a masculine alpha male, that all men are beneath him and he deserves to have all the pussy in the world, right? And so his masculinity is his identity. I noticed that after I started making dick jokes about the guy and he got really offended and talked about how much pussy he slayed. So that's how I know that's what bothers him, and that he's gonna do whatever is necessary to protect his masculine identity. He doesn't care about anything else, but that's really important to him. Social Repose also has something special that he values irrationally above all else, and that is his career. I've shown that in other videos in the past. I'm not gonna go into complete detail. I have a 30-minute video about why his music is that and why it allows him to act that way. This recent video that I did on him pretty much said the same thing in that regard. But his career is what he values over everything else. And if you ask any of the exes of Social Repose, they're going to say that that is what he values over anything else in life. And here's the reason why you go after things like this when there's some kind of like asshole or someone who, you know, I'm not putting labels on them, but someone who's like Greg and Social Repose Richard. It's when you bring into question their special identity, the thing that is them, the thing that defines who they are. When you bring that into question, you start to make them really annoyed. They don't like having that questioned. If you start to question that special thing, it's gonna bother the shit out of them, and then you've done your job if what you wanted to do was bait them. But it's also a great way to make somebody look stupid or say something that was just on their mind rather than a curated perfect response. Speaking of pedophiles, and this weird crossover event is gonna blow your mind because it pissed me off when I saw it. But Social Repose, and here's how I know, he is just very much a valuer of his career. And I know he talks about how his exes have ruined his career in the past, but let's talk about this recent one because I didn't do a video on it, and to be honest, I should have. Now on my blog, I did a little blog post about Social Repose post the video, and with that came some extra information that a lot of people might have not seen. As you all know, I challenged Social Repose to a fight, and he said maybe, and his requirements were the video had to get enough traction. It had to cause enough of a stir in order for him to fight me. Social Repose was talking about going on Chris Hansen. In fact, he had been reached out by the Hansen team to go on the show. In his Discord, he discussed the possibility of going on the show, and better than just going on a show, and being a normal person, he was gonna do it in full getup. Yes, Social Repose was totally on board with making a meme of the entire situation because, you know, that's what you do. That's what a normal person does, right? Now, I can only speculate, but based on the talk I had with Social Repose, you know, that long interview I did, of which I'm going to link below as well, I really got the feeling that he's worried about his career, and it comes through in a lot of these videos where he's talking about some drama happening. He's looking for an in with a controversy to boost his career, something that can help him, get him back into the limelight. Otherwise, he wouldn't be using this Hanson thing as a weird publicity stunt for himself. Why would you do it in full outfit otherwise? As for me fighting him, he said no, and the reason for that is that the video at the time didn't gain enough traction or do enough damage in order for him to defend himself in a ring, to which I find really funny because now he did a video on me, so I guess it did its job.
Like I'm living in a fever dream in which I shall never wake.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a fucking comedy.
Uh-oh. Stinky.
To be honest, I thought my video didn't hurt his ego that much, but apparently I was wrong.
Just to ignore the hate, because as many of you know, many of you that have been following me and my channel, and...
Bitch, you did this yourself, all right? Let's remember that you reached out to me first, okay? Had you not reached out to me, I would have never pursued the story. It was when you reached out to me that I went, oh, something's going on here. I should look into it. Which is what anybody who has any journalistic inkling would do. It just makes sense.
All my shenanigans and this whole adventure that we've been on together, you know that I get a lot of negativity thrown my way. And I used to throw it right back until I stopped.
Okay, Richard, this is a really funny one because let's not forget the reason you were criticized was because you were throwing shade at YouTubers because they were friends with your ex. So me and my peers sat around and said, hey, that's not a content cop. He's just being a salty little wiener. He's being a little baby, a little cone head shaped baby.
Just focus on what matters in your life. Don't give them the time of day. They don't mean anything. They don't know you. Be happy with what you have and just keep moving forward. Keep bulldozing till you get what you want and get your dreams.
Oh, I love this. Clearly all the criticism, it's just haters, guys. Everybody saying something negative about me must mean they don't like me. That's it. They don't have anything valid to say. You know how people grow? By never recognizing any failures or faults of their own? Yeah, you grow so much by never recognizing how wrong you could be in something. I never got anything wrong in my life. Word to the wise, internet, if you're saying it's you against a world and that nobody understands you, it's more often than not actually just you versus yourself. It's self-inflicted.
2017, I have remained relatively quiet. I've generally kept to myself, but there's always these persistent commentary channels in the background. Every so often, there'd be a bigger commentary channel. I would hear through the grapevine that they're collecting information on me. They're trying to build a story, to take me down. Kind of similar to like a paparazzi approach.
Huh, that's a weird thing to say in the moment. You know, that kind of reminds me of what Zac Efron's Ted Bundy said. Now, personally, I consider myself a bit of a freelance journalist, right? I take a lot of cues from that business. But I just want to say I didn't build a story, right? Journalism isn't making a character, right? A good journalism. I know there's a lot of bad stuff out there, but a good journalist doesn't build a story. They find a story. The story was there all along. You just had to dig through all the bullshit to find the story. Like, let's not forget, you did a number on Roii, okay? For some reason, you don't want to recognize that you did this. But, oh, you'll still talk about Jaclyn Glenn. Why? You know, Roii told me quite a bit. Former co-workers told me quite a bit. Former employees told me quite a bit. Former lovers told me quite a bit. Lots of people came to me, and you came to me, right? And with all these people coming to me, I'm able to build a comprehensive timeline of what happened, when, where, with who, how, why. And this is how you make a story filled with truths rather than falsities. And anything that's false, right, will get thrown out. And if it doesn't get thrown out and it gets proven wrong later, Oh, guess what I do and what I did? Pinned comment is filled with corrections and updates of other things that I was looking into during the time of the story. Things that wouldn't have come out unless I had put out the video in the first place. So these are things that I wouldn't have found out unless I put out the video. And these people were nice enough to correct me or give me appropriate information that I needed. Was it a hit piece? Yeah, it was a hit piece, right? Was it filled with just nothing but false statements, lies? First of all, you had plenty of statements that you gave to the video yourself. So are you saying you're lying? But fabricated? No, not at all. Not at all. I didn't make it up out of my ass. Like, if you think that's what it is, okay, you're delusional.
Information on me. They're trying to build a story, to take me down. Kind of similar to like a paparazzi approach. And these videos are always incredibly scathing. They're incredibly mean-spirited, and I get the point of them is just to get a quick laugh. The point is to, you know, just kind of brain candy, easy to digest drama content. Here's the tea.
Ah, yes. Get a quick laugh, guys. My hour-long video on Social Repose was to get a quick laugh. Look, many commentary YouTubers might be doing it for the quick laugh, for the spilling the tea, and I noticed that. But, you know, I find doing hit pieces on YouTubers quite trashy. It's why I don't do them often, right? I think there are bigger fish to fry than YouTubers. I'd much rather focus my attention on taking down people who are genuinely bad rather than waiting over the little stuff. So when I do a video like that Social Repose one, I have to sit there for a while and wonder if what I'm doing is morally better and more just than what this person is doing. And I have to come to a rational conclusion that doing a hit piece or a scathing video on them is not only worth it, but important for people to know. Am I funny? Damn right I'm fucking funny, right? But is that a comedy video? No, not at all. Like, I don't think any of those women you screwed with are laughing, right? I don't think any of them found that funny. I don't think any of them found any of the awful shit you did funny. Yeah, I don't think they find that funny. Do you think Roii finds it funny? No, not at all.
Goes up must inevitably come down. So in 2017, I had a big crash, I had a scandal, I had a very public breakup, and you know, I didn't conduct myself very well, and I've made literally, I think, close to a dozen dedicated videos on this very topic of how I've reflected on it.
Ladies, I'm so sorry y'all have been able to move on, but your ex still can't stop talking about how you ruined his life. I love this. He reflected on how he's done bad and cheated in the past, and then does it again. Beautiful. What a great one there. What a smart, upstanding individual. You know, if you reflect on something and know it's bad, but then do it again, did you even reflect on it in the first place? It's like you sat there, you're like, yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. And then you continue doing it. Reflection would imply you had some of kind of like a transcendent moment, like something changed in you. And apologies mean that you've changed and you're not gonna do the same thing again. That's what an apology is. So no, I don't think you're sorry. I think you're a horn dog, okay? You're a horn dog for a penchant for not respecting women. And that's not me being a simp. You don't even give the most basic of respect in relationships.
It destroyed my ego, which was the best thing that could have ever happened to me in all of this, which is good, because now I feel like I understand self-awareness. I try and exercise it often, and
oh boy, okay, so let's go back to the beginning of the video where I showed him trying to turn the Chris Hansen thing into a bread and circuses kind of moment, you know? Don't claim to be better when this stuff is still practically hot in the minds of the people involved with the situation. You know, while it moves fast for the internet, this is what? That was like November? That's barely any time for the people involved, okay? Like, might move fast for us, but let's realize that in the grand scheme of things, this is a short amount of time. There's no self-awareness here. You say there is, you're not self-aware. You're not.
Inabber fellow YouTuber appeared in Shane Dawson's series. It was a really big deal for him, obviously, and you know, his editing is pretty good, and he's actually, his videos are pretty entertaining. But he recently made a video on me, and like, I am the lowest hanging fruit. Like, the only lower hanging fruit are like Austin Jones and like Onision, and that makes me so sad, because like, to be even uttered in the same sentence as those people, and to be compared to them often, every day. I see comments every day. I get that the tone of my voice is similar to his. I get that my skin color is the same as his.
I can't believe this. Inabber's video is what triggered this? You're kidding me, right? Really, why is my name in the title? Oh, it's because I did an hour-long video where I made you look like shit with information to back it up that is completely valid, and you really don't even have a way to say it's not, aside from saying, oh, it's lies. It's all a hit piece. How? Tell me. Give me information. Come on. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna say that these people's feelings that you hurt, they're wrong, they're lying? What a great argument. Yeah, you're really gonna get that one over.
Told every day that I'm Onision 2.0 or I'm Diet Onision is like, I fucked up a couple times, but Jesus Christ, guys, like, look at the rap sheet. It's like, it's not comparable. I'm not him.
Like, how you act with women, that 100% earned you the title, all right? The boundaries you break and the people you hurt gave you that title. It's not just pulled out of the ass of the ether. Like, people didn't just decide that's what it was because you're white and your voice sounds like Onision. Clear, yeah. When I sat down to do my social repose video, I'm like, oh, it's cause he's white. Yeah, that was a first thing that went through my mind, clearly. Like, what a weak argument to be like, guys, he's worse than me. Come on, we know he's worse than you. There's a lot of people that are really bad and are better than Onision. It's not that hard, all right? But saying that you're bad is not a stretch of the imagination. Look, the difference between you and Onision is that at least you're fucking the moms and you're not fucking their kids. Like what a great compliment you gave yourself, social repose. What a great job. What an upstanding guy. He's just ruining marriages, not ruining children's lives.
Inabber's video or all these other commentary videos, they spend a lot of time ranting about how bad it is to cheat on somebody and how I'm complete trash, and they hyperbolize everything I've done, whether it's correct or not, whether it's truthful or not, it doesn't matter. No one's fact-checking this stuff. It's all just simple entertainment, except for me, the person who's being roasted.
Yeah, so just so we all know, with my last social repose video, I did a lot of fact-checking, a lot of making sure I dotted my I's and crossed my Q's and commaed my apostrophes. There is just shitloads of messages between Roii and Ritchie that Ritchie just completely ignored in this video. And I use messages like these to just like cross-reference other stuff. I use practices like, oh, when was this taken? When was this here? When was this here? When was this here? These are really simple things. That's how you fact check something. Fact check something doesn't mean, oh, how'd you feel about this? Well, it made me feel bad, so does that mean it's a lie? Yes, that means it was a lie because it made me feel bad. That's not how facts work. In the wise words of Ben Shapiro, facts don't care about your feelings.
Influence. I have my fans that I care about very deeply. They care for me very deeply. We're a very tight-knit group.
Man, of course you care deeply about those fans. Of course you do. It would make sense for you to. You know, what would you do without them? They give you money for thirst trapping them and leading them on. So I honestly think it's just a great parasitic relationship. I love it. There'll be women in these comments being like, oh, well, I don't think he's that bad. All right, honey, if you think you're the magical vagina that's gonna turn Richard around into an upstanding member of society, go right ahead. But as I said in the last video, your box ain't magic, and it ain't gonna fix his problems.
The comments on TikTok, you'd think that I had murdered somebody yesterday, but in fact, it has been almost 3 years since I had a horrible breakup, a horribly public breakup, which I was the antagonist. And okay, that's bad, but at what point is this excessive? At what point do I get my life back?
I love this. Are we just gonna ignore the public breakup you had with Roii recently? Which is why I did the video. That happened recently, and we're talking about the stuff from years ago. I don't care about the stuff from years ago, okay? That just helps my argument when I'm cross-referencing it with Roii, because you're gonna do the same stuff in this relationship that you did in past relationships if you haven't improved, if you still have the same baggage and problems. But no, Ritchie, let's continue to belittle these women because pretending they're not there is gonna make their stories go away. Great idea. I'm totally not gonna point that out.
Point is getting tens of thousands of hate comments in a day when I haven't really done anything in a long time, and I've reflected and like apologized and kept to myself. At what point is this cruel and unfair? But also sometimes it is hard to fault the commentary channels because these videos do get views. There's obviously a market for shitting on me. There's not a market for my videos, but there's a market for people against my videos, which
I love it. People like Ritchie, and there are plenty of other people like Ritchie. They think these like magical hate boners just fall from the sky, that they're made up of people who are irrational and don't understand and don't get it and can't even come to the conclusion in a rational or objective sense. And that's how you know he hasn't learned a single thing, that he's learned nothing, that he doesn't think he's wrong. People say the things that Ritchie says when they think the hatred is unwarranted, when they think that they haven't done anything wrong. There's plenty of other people who say exactly what Ritchie said, and they do it on YouTube, and then they continue to do the same thing they did in the past. Oh, why? Why? Because they didn't learn anything.
explain what I've done in this crazy, like, caricature version of myself. Imagine being immortalized as the worst version of yourself. And that's what most people know you as. It's like, it's the most heartbreaking thing.
I will say, no one thinks themselves to be the villain of their own story. That is a fact. People internalize and justify the actions they do because they don't want to think that they're bad. Nobody wants to have a bad opinion of themselves. When you start to question your actions in a moral sense like that, it can cause a lot of strife, but it's important to have those discussions with yourself sometime. For example, and I know nobody reads my blog, but it's going to be referenced here a couple of times, like I did the Social Repose blog post where I questioned whether or not it was okay to fight him and whether or not that would be good, and I've come to the conclusion that fighting him would cause more detriment because it would bring his name out into the spotlight again. For example, recently I did a post about how my content might be more or less voyeurism, and I don't know whether or not it's consciously a good thing to be making. Having these conversations allows me not only to make better content, but allows me to, grow as a person. What I love though about like people like Social Repose and Onision is that they never mention me by name. They always say it in these hushed tones like commentary channels, all commentary channels, or, they just say this guy, this stalker, this bully. We all know you're talking about me. My name's in the fucking title of the video. If you say FPS Diesel's name 3 times, you're gonna summon him like Beetlejuice.
Nobody wants to touch me or what I'm doing, and starting over and changing my name, that it won't do anything. I can't. I'm me.
Wow, this is a great one. Guys, let's put this into perspective, right? Let's all put this into perspective. Social Repose has done a myriad of bad things. A laundry list of things that people would say, normal people would say, hey, that's bad, and I don't think I want to be around a person like that. And his takeaway from people going, I don't think he's a good person. His takeaway from that, oh, this is hurting my career. People don't want to work with me. Why are people doing this to me? Woe is me. Jaclyn, calling you out for the shithead you are, ruined some stuff for you. It ruined parts of your career and put you back. And what you take away from Jaclyn's video is that she took those things away from me. Oh, that's the important part? Good to know.
People will follow me to my grave, and I don't know what to do about it, but every time there's a commentary channel video made about me, it's just further reinforced of calling me this abusive, awful person when I've never laid a finger on anyone, and I lied. I guess, is lying considered abuse? Because if so, then I guess we're all abusers.
This just in from the office of hot takes. This just in, we got a fucking hot take here. Hot take. Abuse is physical. It's only physical. It could never happen emotionally. No. If we want to talk about abuse, it's got to be punching people. We got to be hitting them, throwing them downstairs. What's hilarious is that abuse is such a varied thing. There's negligence, there's, avoiding people, there's saying things to belittle them and make them feel awful. I've met, right, people who were abused. I've worked with people like that, and you really get to see the gambit of how powerful some of this stuff is. And it's really the mental stuff that sticks with you. It's what leads these people to stay with them, right? It's what leads someone like this woman I talked to where her former lover threw her down the stairs and she didn't leave then. That was just normal, you know? She told me through tears. And I did a video on that, but I never did like published it. I did it in high school, but maybe I should publish that interview at some point. But you hear these things and it's really that mental stuff that scars people. The idea that abuse is just the throwing the person down the stairs thing, for example, the idea that abuse is just physical, what a galaxy brain take. What an awful take. Awful, disgusting.
Inabber video, which you don't have to watch it if you don't want. You know, obviously I don't want to support it, but is how all these commentary channels always so unfairly go after my music. Like, yell at me, yell at my character flaws all you want. I have never tried to come across as this perfect angel. I know I am a flawed, imperfect human being that fucks up a whole lot, but...
Remember when I did a video on Social Repose's musical career? Remember how I used that video to describe how he internalizes himself and uses that music to help justify and reinforce his opinions about why he's just being the anti-hero of society and that people don't get him? Anyway, here's a card if you didn't see that video, yeah.
Absolute mountain of my time to learn these skills in order to produce and write and sing and do all this stuff, just to be shit on by some British kid across the world who thinks it'd be funny to make fun of a cover I did 5 years ago.
What a brilliant take right there. 1, Inabber's a grown-ass man. 2, Fraser, when I go to England, I need to buy you a beer. And, oh my God. 3, maybe you'd have a career if you weren't emotionally abusive, manipulated, and hang things like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself if you do this, you know, if you didn't do things like that. If you didn't do things like that, and you weren't awful, and you weren't sleeping around, and you weren't treating women poorly, and doing these ridiculous things, maybe, just maybe, you'd still have a career. I don't know, just me.
It's a losing battle. It's always a losing battle. I hate this platform's culture. I hate what this has become. I am absolutely miserable, but I love making music and I love making art. I hate being famous or any kind of fame. I don't want any of that. I'm uninterested. I just want to express myself. I just want to sing and create things.
Okay, you and I both know in private you love fame. The fame is one of the most important things to you. It's part of your career. It's what made you. You were hoping my video on you would be enough drama to pull you out from the depths and reignite your career in some weird edgy fashion. And all you had to do was for your career to come back was to get in a ring with me and have me knock your teeth out. A small price to pay for success, right? Not only are you not worth the punch, you don't deserve it because you don't stand for anything aside from yourself and your career. There's no greater motive there. It's not your bullies who did you in, Richard. It's you who did you in. It's you who ruined yourself. The reactions of the internet and the world around you in response to what you did is the karmic pushback. It's what you get for doing those things. For wanting that satisfaction of having sex in the moment and doing those things, you got pushback from it. You can't own up to the shit you did and you're belittling it. You're ignoring the fact that women recently have said things about you. You're ignoring Roii. You're ignoring any valid criticisms. Why? Because you think people are bullies? What are you, 15? You're like in your 30s. If you can't own up to the shit you do, and I mean genuinely own up to it and actually do better, then what can I say? Then our paths are gonna cross again. Next time, if you include me in the video, make sure you say something worth its salt. Anyway, as always, if you'd like to keep up with me, you can follow me on Twitter at FPS DIESEL, on Instagram at FPS DIESEL. I do photography on there. It's pretty great. On Twitter, sometimes I tweet. Like I've been tweeting about the Social Repose thing because he included me in a video. So that's great. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so over on Patreon. Boom, boom, bang, bang. What a fucking slick outro. Goodbye.
Step